Okay, hello everyone. Okay, so let's talk about programming style. Okay, all right. So I have over here just a public class and then the main method. I'm just going to add a system.out.println statement, and then I'm going to say that program style basically. All right, now you may think that, oh, maybe the white space here, the blank line here, or the spaces here affect the program. No, it doesn't, right? So Java doesn't necessarily care about the spaces and the extra blank lines. Those are so programming style is basically using those blank lines or those spaces or the way of arranging your code visually, to basically help you read your code better or help other programmers read your code better, just to space out your program or to arrange them in such a way that it's easier for you to read. So when Java is basically reading, the interpreter is basically interpreting this, or basically the compiler is looking at this, it doesn't care about the space. It looks at it character by character from top to bottom. So it goes from here, it skips this space, looks at this curly brace, skips everything, all the white space, jumps here. It looks at it character by character. So in other words, if I just removed all the space, right, and brought this up, removed all the space, brought this up, all in one line or just one long string, if I did this, I haven't broken any rules. This is a complete program, same program as we had. If I compile this, we don't have any errors. When I run this, we see program style is displayed, no errors. But the thing is, I'm going to undo. I'm going to undo to back where we were. This the lines here and the spaces here just helps me as a programmer to be able to read my code better, and helps all the programmers to be able to read it also well. So that's that. You can have multiple line breaks. It doesn't matter. You can have multiple spaces in here. It doesn't matter. Compile this and it still works. The program still works just fine. Okay, except these spaces are going to be printed too. All right, so let's undo that. So programming style is just a way for you to arrange your program, or arrange your code in such a way that it can be read. Now, when it comes to the curly brace, which basically denotes the starting point, okay, of a body, right? So this is the starting curly brace of the public class, and then this is the closing curly brace of the public class. So everything in between is the body of the public class. When it comes to that, the arrangement of that, it's common for most programmers to start the very first curly brace at the end of the first line, and then the last curly brace. Other programmers also like to do this. They always like the opening curly brace to match the closing curly brace this way, and everything else comes in between it. Okay, other programs like that. So in this case, you'd have something like this. This opening curly brace wouldn't be at the end of this line. It would follow over here, and it will match the closing curly brace, and everything else in the main method will be displayed. Will be here. So that's another style, right? You could do that if you wanted to stick with this. Now, another thing is what's called indentation. Okay, so anytime you have a curly brace, opening curly brace or closing curly brace, so we indent anything in curly braces to show that, okay, this content is within this curly brace. So, for example, this is the opening curly brace of the public class, right? This is the body. Anything in that is the body of the public class, and this is the closing curly brace. And everything in the body of the public class has been indented 4 spaces to the right, meaning that before anything that sits in the body of the public class, there are 4 spaces. All right, 4 spaces. Now you can change it to 2 spaces. You just have to be consistent. Mine is 4 spaces. By default, Dr. Java gives you 2 spaces. By default, when you hit enter, it will put 2 spaces before that. You can change it, and I'll show you that in a second. So 4 spaces here. You can see 4 spaces here, 4 spaces, 4 spaces here. Right. It's been indented just to show that, okay, this stuff sits in the these two curly braces. Now we have another curly brace over here, opening and closing, and anything that sits in there also has been shifted 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. It has been indented. So curly indentation happens basically in curly braces. That's a very common place for that to happen, and it just shows that, okay, this sits in these two curly braces, right? Now, so if you go to your preferences in Dr. Java and you go to miscellaneous over here, you'd see indent level is 4. Mine is set to 4 spaces. You can change yours to, it says the number of spaces to use for each level of indentation. You can change yours to 2 or 1, or but 1 is bad because you can't really see it. But if you wanted, you could do that. I've set mine to 4, so cancel. So my style is to basically, when it comes to the curly braces, have the first one at the end of that very first class header, and then for the method header, I'm going to have the very first one at the end, right at the end of it. So this is how it looked. And also you want these spaces, right? So spaces like this. Personally, I like to do that because it spaces out my code well, so I can see spaces like this, even in between stuff like this. I like to put a space there, and at the end, I like to give it some breathing spaces like this. I like to do that. Normally you see no spaces. For most programmers, you see something like this, but I just like to have those spaces there just so I can read it. Normally it will look like this, but I like to have the spaces there for breathing room so I can see it much better. One more thing, when you are writing or printing out stuff, or basically when you have code that is exceeding the line, and so I can let me just go ahead and type in random stuff over here. I'm exceeding the line over here, so I want to concatenate with a plus sign and then continue with another string on the next line. So I'm going to hit enter over here and continue. Now you see that Dr. Java has automatically lined it up over here, right? So I'm going to try again and try another string. You can see Dr. Java has already lined it up and organized it in such a way that it's easy to read. But if you don't have Dr. Java or you're using some IDEs, you may have it this way. You may see it this way, which may be hard to read. See, it's right in line with the system.out.println method, so it's hard to read. But then this way is much better, right? It's organized, in line with parentheses over here, and it's easier to read. But it's all about style. Programming style is just what you feel comfortable with. Sticking with the public convention is a good idea, right? Because that's, in that case, most programmers, okay, or if not all of them, will be able to read your code. As most programmers, you stick with the public convention, but you pick your style, and just make sure it's readable. So yeah, that's programming style. So just pick a style that you're comfortable with, and then code with it, right? So if you have any questions, please comment down below, and I'll do everything to respond to them. Thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time with the next video. All right then, bye bye.